Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. Coming to you today. I've actually tried to make this video a couple of different times on a couple of different occasions. And just for whatever reason, one issue or another, just kind of had to stop in the middle of the video. And so that's the issue when you're filming with your phone. You can't go back and restart. It just becomes too much of a pain. And I don't edit any of my videos, so if I can't just shoot it all the way through in one take and be done, then whatever. But in this video, and here's the thing, I've already shot through 50 rounds of the cartridge that we're loading for, which is 357 Magnum. That's what I've already shot 50 rounds. So again, I've tried to make this video a couple times and just for whatever reason it hadn't lined up. But so if we go back, because I've written some stuff down here. I have some powders that I want to test in 357 Magnum. Also have different bullets. Let's see, I've already got those. We'll just pull down everything I've got that I plan on testing. Let's see. Reloading bench is a little bit of a mess, but whatever. These guys I picked up from Duck Creek Sporting Goods. If you'll recall, I stumbled upon these guys when I was trying to work up a 257, or not 257, a 250 Savage, 250 3000 Savage load for my uncle. Trying to work something up for him, and so they were like one of the only places I could find online that had 250 Savage brass. This is back during hunting season, back in the fall, and nowhere. I mean, of course, COVID and inventory issues and all that, but literally nobody had 250 Savage brass, and I found some brass on their website, and the dude had like 40 bags of Remington brass and had it for a good price. I mean, so I was shocked. So I picked up a couple bags, but I periodically check their website, and he's got some good deals on stuff. Just go check out things you need. Website is it could be a little more user friendly to navigate, but it is what it is. But I picked up, these are 158 grain jacketed hollow points with a cantilure, and then these are 180. So I got 158s, 180s. I've got some of these guys, Barnes, and their funky little 40 bullet boxes of these. These are expensive. These are not cheap. 125 grain. I just want to check them out, test them out, see how they. I'll show you what they look like. So there you go. I mean, just absolutely wicked looking hollow point on it. So that's pretty cool, but they are expensive. They are not cheap. So we also have these guys, the 140 grain FTX for Hornady. So pretty cool. Pretty cool deal there. They're FTX line of bullets, so good stuff. And then I actually bought 2 boxes of these. The 125 grain XTP from Hornady. So, and that's what the first 50 that I've shot so far through the rifle. If you'll remember, it's a Ruger 77 chambered in 357 Magnum. So just a little short, compact, bolt action 357 Magnum. So really kind of more of a unique rifle. You don't, or at least I haven't seen those come across places like Arms List or anywhere like that. I haven't seen those out in the wild very often. And so had a guy hit me up about a potential trade and everything, and it worked out, and I was able to get that rifle and just have loved it ever since. I've only put 50 rounds through it, but once you see the initial results, you'll be like, man, that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. So, but we're running with, so those are the bullets that we're working with. I've got a few different powders that I want to test. I've tested 2 so far for velocity. Get this stuff out of the way here, get it off the notes. But I've tested 2 for velocity so far with the 125 Hornady XTP's H110 and Shooter's World heavy pistol. Initially I went with the 3 powders, excuse me. I've actually tested 3. I also tested Alliant 2400. And so I've tested 3, so you can see my velocities. And I went with all of the sort of the published max charges that I could find. You know, Shooter's World, they have data, obviously, so that's where I pulled 15.3 as their max charge. And then I believe this is in the Hornady manual. Yep, look at that. I even wrote it down. Hornady manual goes up to 15.5, and then same thing, 19.4 in the Hornady manual for H110. So you can see our velocities for any given max charge there. We got up, H110 got us up to 2,068 feet per second. The other 2, not too far behind there, and with smaller charge weights, so 1920 and then 1943. And what I did, pretty much, I just started kind of on my loading block here. I started with the max charge, whatever I deemed to be the max charge according to the manual, and then just worked backwards in 0.2 of a grain to get the starting charge that I went with. So you can see, like H110, the velocity spread, I guess, overall wasn't really that great, or wasn't that large from 1934 up to 2068, so there wasn't a big swing in velocity. Shooter's World, however, there was, we started at 1503, and the velocity climbed pretty quickly, and then kind of, leveled out a little bit, and then climbed again toward the top end to get us to 1943. And then same thing over here with a Alliant 2400, start low and then just sort of work our way up. We're looking for pressure signs as well, that type of stuff, just working up towards that max. And then seeing what the velocities are that we can achieve. Mostly because I do want to work up a hunting load with this. And so, with the 125s, I'm going to do this with all the bullets that I test here, but the 125s, I just want to see what our velocity potential is, and it'll be the same for the rest of them that I test. And then that way, I would like to take this hunting coming up in the fall or in the wintertime, deer season. I would like to take a deer with this rifle and this load combination. I think it's more than capable of doing just some impressive damage on a deer. So I'm looking forward to that. Those are the bullets. Those are the powders. Let's see, brass. Brass is going to be Starline. I had back ordered 500 pieces of Starline direct from, off their website. It's been a while back, and they filled it pretty quick. I mean, it was still several weeks on the lead time, but it wasn't like I was in any hurry for it. So if you're able to back order something that you need direct from those guys, that's probably the best way to do it. And so got 500 pieces in. So Starline, it's probably the best value in terms of brass that I've come across. I know Peterson's really good. You're going to pay a little bit more for Peterson. Lapua, I love Lapua brass. I mean, don't get me wrong, love that stuff, especially in the Creedmoor. I've had great luck with that, and I mean, just the measurements and everything, and checking the consistency of it is, you see why you pay top dollar for that stuff. It's very impressive. But Starline, for what you pay and the quality that you get, my opinion, is hard to beat. So if you're looking for brass, stick with Starline. You can't go wrong. We're using CCI Magnum small pistol primers, the 550s. I bought a brick of those. It was back, same kind of deal. I think maybe back in, might have been January or so, over at Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville. they had some primers, and I was like, hey, I need a brick of small pistol Magnums. Because I had just picked up that, I think I had just traded for that rifle or something like that. And so I was about to try to assemble all the components that I needed for it. And so I was lucky enough to find a brick of those. So I'm good on primers. But what I want to show you, where is it? Yeah, this guy, this target right here. So this target was shot at 50 yards. This is the H110. This is the 10-shot velocity group. And those 10 shots ended up measuring like 1.5 inches. Here are the 10 shots using the Shooter's World heavy pistol. So you can see quite a bit of difference between those 10 shots and those 10. So kind of right off the bat, after I shot it and went and walked down, shot at 50 yards, walked down, looked at the target, because I'm shooting with a 1 power scope, a little Weaver 1x20. So pretty much no magnification. It might be like a 1.25. I don't think it's a true 1X, but still, it's, yeah, basically no magnification. So even at 50 yards, I just try to line the crosshairs up to where I'm just a dead center hold as good as possible. Even at 50 yards, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I was shocked to see that out of the 10-shot velocity group for H110. And then this is more or less what I expected, to be honest with you. So that kind of met my expectations there, Shooter's World. And then here's the Alliant 2400. You can see there's the, now this was shot at 100 yards. So I didn't want to move the target. This was from a different range day. I didn't want to move the target and actually walk it in. So I was like, I'm just going to hold center, shoot. I don't really care where they go on the target. I'm not really looking for that. I'm looking for velocity. So just to kind of give you an idea of just how impressive that H110 group was. So seeing that, I went back and loaded up 4 shots at 19.4 grains. If you'll remember, that was our max charge. It got us about 2,068 feet per second. And went back and shot this at 50 yards. So nice little clover leaf. And then 4th shot, you know, it ended up, I put the calipers on it, ended up measuring, I think, like 0.9 inches. So under an inch at 50 yards with a 357 Magnum, where I'm probably not going to be taking shots beyond 75. I mean, especially with that scope. It's, yeah, 1 power is a little bit tough there. But, I mean, I can't really ask for anything better than that. I thought it was so funny. I'm like, man, load development's over with. No need to test anything else or try any other powders. So H110, that was pretty impressive. And again, that's got us around 2,060 feet per second at 19.4 grains. That was the Hornady Max. Now, I looked around. I'm going to drag this target over here. I looked around at some other load data sources, some other manuals that I have, and they're not the same bullet. It's not the Hornady XTP, but it is a 125 grain hollow point, jacket hollow point spear. They have data up to 20 grains. Lyman and Lee, which they're probably just using the exact same load data. Lee, generally, they just republish. They kind of combine load data from other sources and publish it that way. But they had it going up to 22 grains. So that's quite a bit over the 19.4. And so when I saw that, I'm like, man, I'll work up, initially I'll just work up to Hornady's max. And then if everything's looking good, I'll push beyond that to see, you know, that could definitely add some pretty good velocity numbers there. And if we're grouping like that, you know, at higher charge weights with, you know, better velocities, man, that's going to be a dynamite hunting load. And so I went out, and here were the follow-on velocity testing that I did. I didn't finish. It started raining on me the other day at the range, so I wasn't able to finish. But here are those numbers. I started at 19.4 and just kind of kept creeping up in 0.2 of a grain increment. So I still have these last, what is that, 5? Yeah, I still have these last 5 to shoot, 21.2 up to 22. I still have to go get out and collect velocity data for those, but we ended at basically 2,200 feet per second at 21 grains, and we still have another grain of powder to go before we hit that max charge. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty promising there. 2,200 feet per second. I mean, that's moving on pretty good for the 357 Magnum. So really looking forward to that. And that's basically, I've got those rounds loaded up. I just have to get back out there and test them. But good stuff. So we're seeing a lot of, I guess, initial success. I won't say a lot of initial success, but that's pretty promising. That's kind of what our baseline moving forward. I mean, that's good stuff. If we can achieve that, and that's exactly how I want to set it up as well. Basically, an inch high, 50 yards. And that way, if I do need to take a shot a little bit further out, I mean, everything's still dead on. I believe even out to, I can't remember what it was. I looked at the ballistics. I mean, it's out to over 100 yards. I think the thing would still be dead on. If I set it up an inch high. So that's looking pretty good. I'm liking that already. I could just call that done at a hunt and load, 19.4 grains, and be done and move on. But that's not really fun. So we're going to keep testing and messing around with it. But more to follow. So you guys just stay tuned. I'll be using the Lee die set. I've basically got the dies set up in the press already, but y'all just stay tuned. More to follow, more actual loading of the 357 Magnum. But we'll catch y'all next time. I wanted to go over the initial results that I've had so far with this cartridge. Really impressed. I'm really happy that I stumbled upon some good load combinations right off the bat. That was pretty awesome. So I've still got Enforcer. I want to test Enforcer and probably some other powders as I come across them. So y'all just stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.